only standing here tonight because of my husband, Shua. I am only a parent of this school because of my husband, Shua. Because this school, its values and what it stands for, meant everything to him. I was blessed to be married to Shua for the best 8.5 years of my life. This year would have been our 10th wedding anniversary. My entire marriage making up the majority of my adult life, I always had the answers to everything because Shua always had the answers for me. He was the first and only person I would run to with good news, with bad news, with my thoughts and feelings that I needed to share. He was the one that I asked all my questions to, because he was the one person whose answers that mattered to me, the one person whose answers I cherished. When Shua passed away, I lost that person who would answer all my questions, my children's questions. Who would guide me? How would I raise my children alone and give them what I knew only he could give them? 3 weeks before Shua passed away, he gave me his last and final answer. I didn't know it at the time, and neither did Shua, but he was setting me up with a plan for our children. Our children were going to go to Lamplighters. The year prior was a very stressful year for my oldest daughter, Emanuela, who is now 7 years old. And Shua was adamant in finding the right school for her. He had this innate, visceral feeling that she had to be at Lamplighters, and he was going to make it happen. There was a slight problem, though. We were next on the waiting list, but there was no space. We kept on calling and emailing. Has a spot opened up? Nothing. We kept on trying to arrange a meeting with Yocheved. We're sorry, Shua and Simi. Their class is filled beyond capacity. You're going to have to wait for the meeting till next year. This didn't stop Shua. I remember Shua calling the office, and he said, when does Yocheved get to work every day? 8 a.m. Shua left the house every day at 7:30 in the morning, and he knew that he was going to be late to school, but he was going to make a pit stop at Lamplighters. He needed to talk to Yocheved. He went with the intent of wanting a better life for his daughter. I don't know exactly word for word what happened at that meeting, but I do know the following week we got a call from Yocheved. A space had opened up, and Emanuela was next on the list. She was going to Lamplighters. The craziest part of the story is that there was a glitch in Lamplighters' computer system that had miscalculated the number of spots in the class. But once they had accepted Emanuela and we had already enrolled in school, they couldn't turn back. There was no way we were backing down. They were now one child over capacity. Emanuela started school in September 2017. 3 weeks later, her father, Shua, was rushed to hospital with a life-threatening virus. And 3 weeks later, Shua passed away. School wasn't regular school for Emanuela like it was for every other child in her class. She was at school, but it was more of a delicate, volatile space where her teachers had to balance the ins and outs of her grief process every single day, every single moment. They treated her like a daughter, like family. School became her safe haven. The first 6 months were the toughest. Absent days, crying fits, bursts of emotion during a lesson, missing her daddy in middle of a field trip because she didn't get to go home and tell her daddy what she was doing like everyone else in her class. There is no way that I would be able to manage her journey without the endless love, support, and cocooning that her teachers provided her then and still do every single day. So I just want to give a special shout out to her 3 angels that are teachers. Thank you. Shua must have known it then. He must have known somehow that he needed to arrange this. He cared so much about his children's education that nothing would stand in the way of it. He wanted it badly enough that he cornered Yocheved at work one day and wouldn't take no for an answer. His child was going to Lamplighters. Everything that Shua did as a person, as a parent, as a professional, stemmed from one place. He had a deep-rooted intention to harmonize Torah with the world around him, for himself, for his family, and especially his children. Shua had this way. He struck the delicate balance between Yiddishkeit, spirituality, and any environment he was in with finesse, beauty, but most importantly with respect. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to find. And it's an evolving process that I am continuously trying to navigate every single day, especially now without him. Shua mastered this balance. He lived it. He breathed it. That's the Yiddishkeit he wanted to show his children. That's the Yiddishkeit he knew was mirrored at Lamplighters. It's really rare to find communities that welcome, encourage, and foster this harmony and balance with love, compassion, and appreciation for both the physical and spiritual counterparts that we are surrounded in, especially in New York, especially in Brooklyn, and especially in Crown Heights. If I had to describe a typical Lamplighters family who sent their children to this school, there is no way that I would be able to, because there is no typical Lamplighters family. It doesn't matter what the family looks like, what you do, or where you come from. Every Jewish child is welcome at Lamplighters. That is the magic that Shua felt and wanted for his children. As a person, Shua's life mission, his drive, and his person stemmed from his love in finding Chassidus. As a parent, he raised his children with Chassidus driving him. And as a psychologist, he based the work with his patients on Chassidus. Shua saw it and he felt it at Lamplighters. This is the school for his children. I'll never forget in my apartment the week of Shiva, the week when Shua passed away, when hundreds of people came in. Yocheved came in and she beelined for me. And she sat down opposite me and she looked at me. And she said, "Simi, I promise you, your children will always have a place at Lamplighters." She said, "We will always take care of your children." Yocheved, I would not be able to give my children Shua's answer without your commitment. I would not be standing here as a single mother without the financial assistance Lamplighters has generously, graciously, and wholeheartedly bestowed upon me and my children. But I am not the only one, unfortunately. How many more children and families are just like me? How many families want what Shua so badly wanted for his children? For whatever reason, Shua knew his children had to get into this school. My children are only here because Shua didn't stop and he didn't settle. Yaakov lo met because his children carried on his mission and his will. I know walking up onto the stage, here, that Shua is so strongly here. I feel him. He's here because his children are here. And now Shua's legacy can help other children too. And I know that Shua will continue to live on with this promise being passed on to others who need it as well. I struggle daily searching for answers. But every day when my children walk through lamplighters and they are living with Shua in them, through them, this is one answer I know that I don't have to worry about. Many of you here tonight knew Shua, and many of you don't. But I know that he'll be remembered. Through every other child that is able to walk through this school with the Flame Fund. It's humbling to be standing here, and I'm humbled to accept this fund in Shua's name, in his honor. Because I will continue what Shua wanted, and it's a privilege for me to be able to do that. Thank you.